I've been overcome with a craving for a pure, fun, exciting fantasy book with a swoon-worthy romance. So what better moment to test out 3 of the most popular romantasy books at the time. Are these books worth the hype? Will I swoon? I'm obsessed with this, but I just can't stop reading. Or seethe. Did Andrew Tate write this book? Genuinely dangerous rhetoric. Let's find out. All spoiler-free, of course. So there's this one romantasy book that I see every single time that I go to my local bookstore. And every time I pick it up, I'm like, this sounds like just a dime a dozen romantasy book. It's probably not gonna be good. I've been hurt too many times before. But it recently popped up on my audiobook app. So I was like, I can just listen to like the first few chapters. You know, I'm just curious. And I started listening. Let me tell you, I was kind of into it. I was like, wait, this isn't very well written, but I'm enjoying this world. So maybe it's stupid to go off the first chapter because we know these kinds of books can go downhill very, very quickly. But I am gonna go to a bookstore to get myself a copy of this book because it's a fantasy, so I prefer to read it in physical copy. Let's see if future Leonie regrets this decision or not. Let's go! So of course, right when I want to get this book from the bookstore is the moment that they don't have it anymore. I went to 2 bookstores and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I decided to just get it on my Kindle then. The book that I'm talking about is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I think that's how you pronounce it. Or The Crimson Moth. I don't know why they gave the US and the UK edition different titles, but in the UK it's The Crimson Moth, and then in the US it is Heartless Hunter. So, okay. When I tell you what this book is about, you're gonna be like, Leonie, that's so cliche, and you would be right, okay? It is about a witch who is trying to hide that she's a witch by seducing a witch hunter, and then of course she falls in love with the witch hunter. But everything else about the concept of this book just really instantly grabbed my attention because these are not just normal witches. These are blood witches, so they need blood in order to do magic. There's a lot of murder, there is hunting going on, there's a very kind of Viennese opera vibe to the world building. Witches are mercilessly hunted by like a tribunal. The main character is the Crimson Moth, aka like a vigilante hunter that hunts witch hunters in secret. It's so cool. I just love, it's very much like bloody Tumblr, dark, edgy fantasy, and I just really like that. I know it doesn't really fit the vibe that I have going on right now. This is giving more Stardew Valley, but I love a little bloody dark fantasy. So I was just captivated from the beginning. It kind of reminds me, for those of you who have played the game Baldur's Gate, and if you watch my videos, I feel like you would like the game Baldur's Gate. It reminds me of like Worship the Murder God. This book has the same vibe as that, and that's my favorite part of the game. So I'm gonna be honest, ever since I updated you yesterday, I am already like halfway into this book, like over halfway into this book. Because yesterday I just couldn't stop listening to the audiobook, and this morning I just couldn't stop reading the ebook. And it's not even that good, but there's some kind of like drugs in this. I don't know. But that was what I was looking for. I'm just waiting for this moment that this book is gonna do the standard romantasy thing for me, and that is disappoint me with how the rest of the book goes. Bathroom reveal. For this video, I have partnered with Wild. Wild has a reusable aluminum deodorant applicator, so you can refill your cases again and again, reducing plastic waste. First of all, I love their case. The bees, it's my thing. And they have a high variety of cases to choose from. They can even be engraved and personalized. And the scents, oh. So their plastic-free refills come in a bunch of different scents. Also ones for sensitive skin. And I am obsessed with them. Oh, this one. Oh my god, it's so good. And it is 24-hour protection. But most importantly, I really appreciate Wild's mission. They have saved over 1.6 million pounds of single-use plastic from going into landfills. And their products are completely powered by plants. No aluminum salts or parabens, and they are Leaping Bunny certified. They also have a reusable shower dispenser and lip balm applicator. You can use my code thebookleo to get a 20% discount on all of Wild's products. The code doesn't last long, so click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to discover more about Wild. You know, whenever you're introduced to a character and their whole thing, this character's whole thing is how much the main character can trust them, and the main character is constantly just like, I could trust this person with their life. Like, so many moments where I thought that they could betray me. They've always been so good to me, they would never do me any harm, and you just know that that character is gonna end up betraying them. Rune has a best friend that knows that she is a witch, and she keeps saying how she would trust him with her life, so I'm calling it right now that this guy is gonna end up betraying Rune at the end of the book. I won't spoil you if it does happen, but I am just gonna say here, I am calling it. Oh guys, this book, it's still it's not very good, but I can't stop listening to it and reading it. One of the main things of this book is that our main character is the Crimson Moth, aka a witch that hunts witch hunters, which is super cool. She's like this vigilante that goes out to take justice into her own hands. She's like feared, she is dangerous. Such a cool concept. But I am like over halfway into this book and we just don't see her do any of these things. Like, our main character Rune is supposed to be this amazing badass witch hunter. When is she doing it? Not on the page. We're just told that she's this really cool blood witch, but do we see it? No. Also, the concept of this book is kind of problematic when you think about it a little bit too long, because the whole thing is that you can recognize a witch by her scars, because you need to draw blood in order to do magic, so you are left with scars, magical scars after you do magic. So the whole thing in this book is that Gideon is trying to get Rune naked so he can check her for scars, and everyone in his surroundings is like, did you get her naked yet? Did you sleep with her yet so you can check for her scars? And there's so many moments where, you know, he's trying to get her naked. If I think about this too long, that is kind of weird, actually. It's constantly teetering on the edge. Also, the writing style in this book is so like, we are just told everything, nothing is shown to us. It's very like explainy, super easy writing style, but because of that, it's so easy to get through, and that's why I'm flying through this. I don't really know what this book is doing to my brain right now. Anyway, it's beautiful weather. It is actually a national holiday today in the Netherlands. It's King's Day, which means there is a market, like a flea market, where everyone sells their own stuff, and I'm gonna go on the hunt for some fun little bits and bobs, you know? Maybe our own lives aren't romantasy, but we can romanticize our own life. So I thought it would be fun to take you guys with me to see if we can find some fun things at the markets. Hello! I got flowers for you. Let me show you what I found. Let me take off my coat. I found these adorable, cute little homemade earrings. Very nice. Oh my god, I saw this little thing, these hands. I saw this and I immediately knew this is going to hold my rings. I can put it in my bedroom and then it's gonna hold my rings. Oh, I love it. And then I also got this gorgeous pillowcase. Oh my gosh, this was €4. It is the head of Venus from the famous Venus painting. Amazing. I'll show you what it looks like on the couch in a second. Oh, and then also I was on the hunt for some vintage tea cans. Or like tea tins, and I got these very old-fashioned tea tins, and I specifically got these because I wanted to put herbs in them. I also read some more of this book. Let me tell you about it as I swap out my dying tulips for the cute flowers that I just bought. Look at that. Wow. I love her. Guys, this book is going downhill so fast. I feel like my excitement at the beginning of this book is because this book promised so many cool things. Like the whole witch hunter, blood witches thing is so cool. We barely get to see much of it, to be honest. And the main characters are being so dramatic towards the end. Again, I won't spoil anything. The romance is going so fast towards the whole like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe without you. Being without you is like living with no air. Like She Is that 2010 song. And I don't understand it. Like, it's been 300 pages. Like, come on, guys. Be chill for a second. Oh. Here we go. The only thing that's really keeping me going that I've been excited about, without spoiling anything, there's like a hint that there's going to be like a heist of sorts. And I love heist plotlines, so they better deliver on that. This book still has a chance to redeem itself with the finale. We'll see. Okay, so funny story from future Leonie. As I'm editing this video, I realized I forgot to finish this book. It got so boring towards the end that I just forgot to finish the thing, so I just finished it. I just finished like the last 100 pages, and I will say I was really into it again towards the end. Yes, it's a little dramatic. If you've read romantasies before, it's nothing new. You know exactly the story beats that are going to happen because they're the same as every other one. But overall, I will say that like the concept of this book, I still just have such a soft spot for. Like the whole blood witches, blood magic thing. I just really like it. This old town that everything takes place in. The whole concept of having a dual point of view of two people that are trying to seduce each other into unveiling their undercover self to each other. Like two spies spying on each other. It just works really well. Although I am mostly just disappointed with the execution, I would still give it 3 stars. I did enjoy reading this book, but I have no interest in the second one. Okay, something interesting is going to happen today. I have made a decision. And I don't know if it's a good one. So as I've told you, the goal of this video is that I am starved for just a good, fun, high action, sexy romantasy book. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Now, there is one romantasy book that is really popular, but that I've only heard bad things about, that I once tried reading and then had to put away after 1 chapter because it was so bad. But I've had multiple of my friends read this book recently, telling me that it kind of is exactly what you're looking for. And so, because I trust my friends, I have decided to give a second try to Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. The romantasy sensation of 2023. The book that everybody loves, but also has a lot of very staunch haters. I once tried reading it, couldn't get past even the first chapter because of how cringy it was written, because of just the lack of characterization and world building that I was already feeling, the cringe way the characters were talking to each other. But maybe I should just give it another go. I am going to give this an honest attempt. I am gonna go into this book in good faith. I am going to genuinely try to enjoy it. I'm not gonna nitpick or be like, this is just really bad. I'm gonna try to kind of like shut down the part of my brain that is critical and has taste. No. I'm being way too hard. This is what I mean. I'm not gonna try to be snarky like that. I'm going to read this as if I've never heard anything about this book ever, and I'm just going to read it as it is. If you don't know what Fourth Wing is about, it's about a girl, Violet, who's going to become a dragon rider, and she has to go to this war college to learn to become a dragon rider. There's dragons. That's cool, right? What can go wrong? Nobody is surprised when I say that this book isn't very good. Look, there's a lot that I can complain about, and I will start with complaining. The characters are constantly talking in a way where you're like, oh, they're clearly trying to convey information to you as the reader. Let's see if I have an example. So we have a main character that's going to become like a dragon rider, but she has, I think, some kind of like ligament disease. She's physically quite frail, kind of putting her at a disadvantage, and she has this healer that has been healing her entire life, and she's asking him to heal her again. So Violet Sorengale, our main character, which by the way her name is Violet Sorengale, like soaring gale, like the wind and the dragons, anyway. And we have the healer say to Violet, oh, are you sure? You know it's going to hurt like hell and will still ache for a couple of weeks, right? I nod. This isn't my first mending. Like, why would he even ask or say that if he's been mending her entire life? And the book is full of things like this, where characters are just saying things that feel so unnatural just to explain things to the reader. The writing style is just generally bad. I'm sure you've heard the famous lines. This is how she describes our love interest, Xaden. He's flaming hot, scorching hot, gets you into trouble and you like it level of hot. This is how she describes Xaden's scent. Just imagine like how any writer could describe the scent of someone that they are attracted to. You know, there are many ways that you can describe a beautiful scent, a scent that you can't quite grasp. Rebecca Yarros describes it like this. Shit. Does he have to smell so good? Like mint and leather and something I can't quite identify. Something that borders between citrus and floral. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, the writing style lacks so much inspiration or artistry. Also, people in this book are dying left and right because the whole thing is like, oh, all these trials people have to go through. Most people don't make it. So there's just like dozens and dozens of people dying constantly. But there's like no gravitas to it. Like sometimes the character's like, oh, I'm so sad because another person died, but we have to keep going. And you just don't feel any of it. Like it's so flat, like the deaths are so meaningless, and because of it I don't feel any attachment to any of the side characters because I'm like, they could just die at any moment. And it made me realize that Susan Collins in The Hunger Games does such a great job where even if you know all of the side characters, all the tributes are going to die, you still care about them. And there's like a gravitas to it, like you feel every single death. But here it's just like, well, guess people are just falling off cliffs again. However, I haven't done anything productive so far today because I can't stop reading this book. I know I just said all like the bad and negative things about it, but it's really fun, guys. I'm having an insane amount of fun right now. I understand now why my friends kept recommending it to me, even though they knew that it would be bad. I didn't really expect this. It's really fun. It's been months since I've had this much fun with reading a book. I want to continue reading. I want to know what's going to happen. What dragon is she gonna bond to? When are her and Zayden going to kiss? How on earth is she going to survive all this? There's so many people that are trying to kill her that are way stronger and faster than she. Like, how is she gonna get out of it? How is she gonna stay alive? I'm foregoing any further commentary before I finished more of this book, before I embarrass myself. Guys, so many weird things are happening in this book. I feel like I'm reading fan fiction with just the amount of weird things that are happening to get Violet and Zayden in proximity with each other. It's like fan fiction in a way that it's just really poorly written, but at the same time, it's so much fun that I just can't stop reading. There's like crack in this book. And they say chivalry is dead. Oh, okay. I'm like kind of obsessed with this. Oh, I'm really eating my words. I'm eating my words. Oh, I have to say something about this book. You know, is this very well written, very good? No, we knew that. We've been over that. And one thing that I was kind of surprised by, but that is also exactly what I'm looking for, is that I really like the romance in Fourth Wing. Like, Violet and Zayden actually have chemistry. Like, they are fully enemies to lovers, hating each other, wanting to kill each other. Like, the whole point is that Violet is like constantly afraid that Zayden is going to kill her. But then they also have so much tension and they're actually flirting with each other, which more characters need to do that. A lot of the things that people were talking about when they hated on this book is that it was cringe because it was so kind of sexualized, and I had the same experience. Like, when I read the first chapter like a year ago and thought it was too cringe to continue reading, one of the things I thought was kind of cringe was the way the characters kind of talked about sleeping with each other, making a lot of innuendo jokes. And this is something that is mentioned pretty often when people hate on this book. They're just like, it's so cringe, which it is, but the things that are often mentioned as being so cringe about this book is mostly just how focused the characters are on sleeping with each other and how openly they talk about being interested in that and kind of making jokes about that. And it just made me think, I can't believe I'm defending Fourth Wing right now, but it just made me think, okay, just gotta ask ourselves, why do we find it cringe? Why do we find it cringe to read a book where female characters are just like openly talking about sex and admitting to wanting that? Why is that considered cringe? I have to ask. I have to ask myself that question. And you know what? I actually kind of, the whole thing in this book is that they're like, okay, so everyone at this war college, it's all young people, like early 20s if I'm correct. All these young people together in this like high stakes, adrenaline filled environment just leads to them constantly wanting to sleep with each other. And you know what? I'm gonna say, I think that is actually pretty realistic. I think that's very realistic, and a lot of, especially like female characters in fantasy or romantasy even, they're often like, I've never looked at a man in my life. I never have a single impure thought in my life. The only man I care about is this singular love interest who, for the first time in my life, made me feel anything in my body. But other than that, I am completely a nun. You know, she openly admits to, you know, enjoying all these really attractive men surrounding her in this training center. She's like openly kind of fawning at how hot Xaden, our love interest, is. And this is often mentioned as like really cringe. And we cringe at that. Again, I ask why, because I do think, I don't know, wouldn't you do the same thing? I mean, it is written in a super cringe way where she's constantly like, OMG, he looks so good. It's written in a kind of a cringe way, but in essence what she's doing shouldn't be cringe, right? I do think a part of us are just kind of cringing at seeing a female character openly admitting to having attraction feelings to someone else and not being a kind of lifeless nun, as we kind of tend to expect women to be. So although it is written in a very cringe way, I do appreciate that we have a fantasy, a romance fantasy novel where the characters, the female characters, are also allowed to just be interested in sleeping with men and like openly talking about it without it being seen as cringe. Adding to that, I also actually really like that we have a main character with chronic illness. There are some good things about this book. I don't know why I'm defending this novel. I have to complain again. They constantly keep calling characters super smart for doing the most basic thing. Like, okay, and these things are going to be like minor spoilers, so if you want to skip them, skip over to this timestamp. But dragons can read the writer's thoughts. So when Violet is bonded to a dragon, so Violet figures out that the dragon is reading her thoughts because he is, you know, constantly directly responding to her thoughts. And then the dragon is like, see, you're clearly the smartest of your year for figuring that out. Figuring out that I can read your thoughts. Like, it's so obvious. And also Violet has to go through these one-on-one duels as part of like the trials. She can't beat them because she's frail and petite and just not as physically strong as the rest. So what she does is she poisons them beforehand so that they'll get ill during their fight with her so she can easily take them out. That is, I do think that is smart, but this happens like 4 times in a row and no one bats an eye. No one is like, what's up with this girl? Like, all of her opponents just become magically ill the moment they have to fight her. No one thinks of anything except for Xaden. At some point, our love interest, or our dark shadow daddy bad boy, he's like, clever of you to poison everyone. And then Violet is like, wow, he's so smart for figuring that out. Like, that's so obvious. Anyone could have figured it out. But yet, I can't stop reading, guys. I'm having so much fun. Every time I pick it up, suddenly it's like an hour later and I'm like, wait, what's happening? No, another chapter. I need to keep reading. If only this was well written. It's starting to kind of lose its shine. I am like, by the way, this book's like 600 pages. I am 2/3 of the way into it. That's over page 400. Why is this book so long? The beginning of this book is very, honestly, kind of like divergent. Where it's like training sequences and trials and like the whole fire riders thing, and they're all wearing black. It's giving Dauntless. It's really giving Divergent Dauntless. I just love a good training montage, man. I just love a good training. But now we're getting into like bigger story, which is, and this is not really a spoiler because like every story, every fantasy story, at some point there, it's just about a war. There's a war going on, and that's where just the lack of interesting writing really starts to show, and the lack of world building and the lack of like interest and originality in the politics of the world really starts to show, because like there's a war going on, and I'm just kind of like, I have truly read this story 20,000 times before, and this is not an original take on it. This is my own theory, okay, but I'm so certain, I can see it coming from miles away. The country that they're fighting for is gonna turn out to be the bad ones, and like the rebels that are being punished are gonna turn out to be the good ones. And the main characters are gonna fight on the rebel side. Of course, we've seen this so many times before. You know, reading this book is really giving me an existential crisis. Like there are two wolves inside of me, and they are warring with each other. One of them wants cool, sexy dragon riders, and the other one just wants a well-written story. Also, our two love interests, Zayden and Violet, are eventually sleeping with each other. It's so poorly written. It's so poorly written. I'm just like, this is such a waste of an honestly pretty good romance. I have my theories. I have my theories. I'm like really into it again. Yeah, I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen. Wow, it looks like I'm wearing some kind of holy crown right now. Final thoughts. Your girl finally read Fourth Wing. Didn't think this day would come. Not only did I read Fourth Wing, I also kind of enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, all of those negative things that I've been talking about still stand. Also, most of the time I had no idea what anything looked like, what any space or room felt or looked like. I was very lost all the time, and not a single one of the side characters were interesting. Like, I could not tell you anything about them except for Violet, Zayden, and then Dane, who was the only side character that I actually thought was interesting. And he sucks. Like, he's an annoying character, but at least he's interesting. That being said, it's pretty hard to mess up a book about dragon riders. Hello, there's dragons in here. They have dragon powers. Everyone has magic. There's so many things going on. It's cool. It's just really fun and cool, and I understand why this book is so popular. Part of the reason that I couldn't really get the full experience of this book is because I've just seen a lot of it before, you know. But if you are getting into fantasy for the first time, I totally understand you read this and think, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I'm having a great time. I think I will end it at 3 stars. I would give it 3 stars. It was nice. I just have too many things to say about it that I thought were not good to give it any more than 3 stars. Who thought this day would come? Who would have thought? Now, the next book I want to read, I actually don't know anything about. I just know that it's extremely popular and has a horrendous cover. I am going to be reading Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. Like the one with the dramatic tear on the cover. Because I think if I'm going to be making a video reading really popular romantasy books, I can't skip this one. It's got a 4.4 average rating on Goodreads. We have a main character, Ceres, who has strange secret powers, and she's a thief. We love a thief main character. And she gets transported to a fae kingdom. I am kind of in a mood for a fae story, and there she meets like this super strong warrior man, Death himself, called the Kingfisher, which I don't think that's a very cool name. Like, that's a tiny little bird. That's a cute little small little bird. Oh, why do all these romantasy books have to be 600 pages long? They never need to be that long. Let's see what I'm gonna think of this. What the hell? I hate everything about that so far. I'm only 20% into this book, and I already know I have to bring out the whiteboard of sins. Let me back up a little. Tell you what this book is about. We follow a main character, Ceres, who is a human in the human world. The first 100 pages or so, we are just following her life as a thief. She is kind of taking care of her brother. She has a little situationship going on that she's not really happy with. She's pretty cool, very assertive, kind of badass. Then at some point, trying to run away from guards that are after her, she touches a sword and it opens a portal to the fae world. And that's where she ends up. There's a kind of vague storyline going on with quicksilver, which seems to be this kind of like magical silver that the fae are after. But most importantly, there is a knight, a fae warrior, who is awful to her and so mean to her, and she hates him, but he's really hot. It's kind of hard for me to give a good summary of this novel because it's such a weird mishmash of many different things that it kind of feels like nothing, because we have this city at the beginning with the humans that is supposed to have this like big class difference, and you have like the elites with the queen and they are oppressing like the poor people, but nothing's really done with that. Like, it just, I hate it when fantasy books do this, where they create these big like class differences or other kinds of like oppressive systems, and it's just as like an interesting backdrop to the fantasy world, but they don't actually say anything interesting. It's just like, wow, these people are bad to poor people. Bad. Okay, are you gonna have something interesting to say? Is there going to be a message, or are you just using these oppressive systems as a fun little decor for your fantasy novel? My neighbors are moving, so I think there's gonna be a lot of noise in the background in this video. So we have this like lazily world-builded city. There is an immortal queen. There seems to be magic with metals. Then we have fae as well, alchemists. It just feels like a big mishmash of many random different things, but I don't feel like a clear vision, a clear world-building vision, a clear atmosphere. It just feels like a combination of a bunch of stuff. Let's just fill in the board of sins because I have things to say. So we start off with a pretty badass main character that is a thief. She can do a lot of things in her world. She goes to the fae world, and basically what ends up happening is we have a main character that can't really do anything and is instead at the mercy of this all-powerful Kingfisher warrior. This book also does the classic thing where The main character, when she goes to the Fae world, is forced to wear skirts and dresses, which of course she hates, and she just wants to wear pants like before, but she's just forced into these beautiful dresses. And then the most egregious thing, she goes from having no love interest except for her random situationship to this man Kingfisher. And my god, oh my god, did you see the faces that I pulled just now? It's while I was listening, those were the faces I pulled to the things that he says to her. He is constantly calling her a bitch, constantly demeaning her, making fun of her, making so many inappropriate sexual comments towards her. It's awful. And the main character realizes this. She's like, I hate this man. He sucks so much. He's not treating me well. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you are so correct. But I'm also very aware that this guy is gonna be your love interest and you guys are gonna fall in love in some way. What I'm trying to say with this little overview is that the main character starts out pretty cool. Okay, and then she goes to this Fae world where she's constantly forced into things she doesn't like. She's constantly saying like, oh, I don't like this is bad. I don't want to wear skirts. I don't want to be with this awful man. I want to go back to where I had some power. But it is the story. So these are all these things that I would say are kind of like classically setting women back about a few hundred years. And our main character's like, I don't like this, I don't want this, but it is the story that she's getting. So this is something that novels and with female main characters very often do, is that they will have the main character say, oh, I don't like this, I don't want any of this, but then it is the story that she's getting, and it is clearly the story that you as the reader are supposed to kind of enjoy. But then you get a main character saying, oh, but it's actually bad and I really don't like this, to kind of give the feel of like, oh, we're not condoning this. Like, I know this guy is acting like a complete asshole, an absolute creepy man, I would say. Like, did I mention he's like over 1,000 years old? I thought 500 years was bad. This man is like 3 times Rysand. It's crazy. It gives you this kind of old-fashioned male-female fantasy while also giving you the idea that you're rejecting that fantasy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I'm only 20% in. I'm sure this guy is gonna turn out to have some kind of sad backstory, and then he's gonna become really sweet, or at least only sweet to the main character. I'm gonna be honest, I'm genuinely so bored. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through another like 11 hours of audiobook. Oh.
Even been hot enough to make my toes curl, but Fisher was the epitome of everything that was strong and male and powerful. He was beautiful of all. He was so goddamned big.
I don't hate your kind. I'm just disappointed by how breakable you are. If I held you down and you the way I'm imagining you right now, I doubt that you'd survive it.
I wouldn't you if you were the last living.
Don't bother.
The words held bite.
Lying is pointless with your heart betraying you so loudly.
It's beating fast because I'm afraid. I snapped.
No, you're not. You should be, but you're not. That's one of the things I like most about you.
Listen to the girl when she tells you that she's afraid of you. Oh my god. Oh, I hate this so much. Oh. What a creep. Okay. I can safely say that I hated this book with a fiery passion. The only reason I could get through all 600 pages of this was by listening to the audiobook, because I was so bored and didn't care about anything that I wouldn't otherwise be able to get through it. This is a fantasy book with absolutely no direction in its world building or atmosphere other than it just being a decor for the most horrible romance I've ever read in a fantasy book. Quicksilver is just 600 pages of this alpha brooding man being horrible, absolutely horrible to the main character, and them ending up together anyway. And when I say horrible, I mean He keeps calling her names. He demeans her, makes her small. Because he's a fae, he has the power to compel her, basically making her do whatever he wants to, which he keeps making inappropriate innuendos at her. And just so many times of her blatantly telling him that she hates him, doesn't want him, doesn't want to sleep with him, wants him to go away. He just ignores all of that under the guise of, oh no, but I know that you actually do want me. I know that you're lying. You really do want me. Despite her constantly rejecting him, he continues to push for intimate things. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. The main character, Ceres, who used to be cool in the first 100 pages, hates him, but falls for him because he's just really hot and very manly. Why did Andrew Tate write this book? Because it genuinely feels that way. But just getting back to like this trope that I absolutely despise, that I see too often in romantasy book, is this idea of a main character, female main character, saying no multiple times, and then the man being like, no, but I can hear your heart beating really fast, so clearly you're into it. There's a moment where he touches her under her skirt. She actively tries to reject him, but because he notices that she is wet, he concludes and tells her that she does actually enjoy it and that her body is betraying her. And I just want to emphasize that this is genuinely dangerous rhetoric. It's a common trope that, like, I'm gonna try to talk about this in euphemisms so I don't get demonetized, but it's a common thing in these kinds of books where the female main character says that she doesn't want something, but then the male character realizes that she is wet and so concludes that she does actually enjoy it and like her body is betraying her. That this is not only biologically incorrect, it is also genuinely a dangerous idea. And let me start with like the biology of it all. I have a biomedicine degree, but the idea that someone's wetness is somehow the most truthful, accurate sign of how much someone is enjoying it and you, specifically overruling what they're saying, is just not true. Something you have to know is that the body just responds to what is happening around it. Somebody can become wet because it's just a physiological response to spicy stimuli. The body is just preparing itself for what it expects will come. It does not necessarily, sometimes, but it does not necessarily mean that someone is actually enjoying it. It is in part just a biological response. It is not some kind of measurement of enjoyment. It's just the body preparing itself. But a lot of romance novels continue this myth that it is somehow this kind of way to see the truth of what a person really wants. And this is actively dangerous because it can lead to situations where a perpetrator might say, oh, but I can tell that you are enjoying it, even when someone says no. There are many cases of perpetrators defending themselves by saying, oh, but this person was wet. Oh, but you were wet. So clearly you were enjoying yourself, even though you are saying that you didn't want it. This is something that perpetrators can hold against victims. There's a lot of victims that can feel guilt over how their body responded, thinking to themselves, oh, maybe I am making this up. Maybe I did enjoy it. But no, it is just a biological response of the body. It is not a measurement of how much you're enjoying it. So that is why I think it's genuinely so dangerous that this myth keeps being perpetuated in romance novels, that you can somehow ignore a woman's rejection because you can tell what she really wants by looking at how her body responds. You can't. You have to listen to her. But it's really popular, even showing up in like magical elements like fae being able to smell someone's excitement. Or vampires can often also do it, or you can tell by their heartbeat or such. It perpetuates this myth that a woman's no means nothing and that the man can just tell what she really wants. It's awful. It's really, I hate it. I hate it. And I guess you could ask yourself, why is it such a popular trope in romance then? Romance novels that are written and read mostly by women. Why is it so popular that we even make up magical reasons for why male fae can like smell what a woman really wants? Why do we keep seeing this in romance novels like this? I guess it does make sense if you remember how much shame there still is for a lot of women to like openly admit wanting something intimate. I mean, we already talked about this with in the fourth wing part, about how this idea of having this main character that is like openly talking about sex with her sister and is like openly ogling all the men, how we tend to see that as really cringe. Women, and by extension female characters, openly wanting intimacy, wanting spicy things, is still seen as cringe. It is seen as shameful. I mean, look at the backlash that women who really enjoy reading spicy novels are getting online. A lot of women feel shame around what they want, and that's why I think it is so popular for there to be stories about female characters not admitting that they want to be with the male character, constantly saying, no, I don't want this, no, I don't actually like this, no, I think this is bad, but somehow the male character can like magically tell that they are actually enjoying it, so you can get these storylines without having a female character openly admitting that she wants it and therefore risking being cringe or shameful. There's something very comforting in the idea that someone can just magically smell or tell what you want and what you enjoy without having to go through the shameful thing of actually admitting it. But I think if we keep calling women cringe for wanting these things, if we keep shaming women for having these kind of desires, we're gonna continue getting these awful tropes that perpetuate this idea that if a woman says no, they actually mean yes. We're just gonna keep getting these stories where the women don't have to openly say what they want, but the men can like smell it on them, which creates awful expectations, dangerous situations in real life. Wow, that was a whole essay that I just spilled out right there. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a very delicate interaction between criticizing how problematic some of these romantasy books are and how toxic some of these romance novels are, and also not shaming women for enjoying it. Maybe our collective cringing at the spiciness of a book like Fourth Wing is causing problematic books like Quicksilver to exist. Anyway, I feel like I could make like a whole video essay on that. That's not what this video is about. Quicksilver gets 1 star for me. Absolutely hated that. Which brings us to a ranking of like Fourth Wing at the top. Wow. Never would have thought that would happen. Fourth Wing at like 3.5 stars, then Heartless Hunter 3 stars, and then 1 star Quicksilver. This video ended up being very long. I still hope you guys really enjoyed it. Let me know if there are any romantic books that you would recommend that you think I would give, you know, 4 stars or higher. And I would also really like to know your perspective if you did really enjoy these books. With that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon in another video very soon. Goodbye!